and welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. Welcome in, welcome back. You know me, it's Buckeye Boggs. That guy over there is the Wild Man, Chris Wiles. That man down there is Sergeant MVP Aaron Brown. And our special guest is with us tonight, former Ohio State running back, Master Teague III. And we are awaiting the entry of JR. I'm sure he'll be in just a minute. When he does, we'll pop him into the screen as well. But first and foremost, Master Teague, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. Let's go.
All right, let's do this. Right off the bat, let's not waste any time. This bad boy just got done reading this. Not only was he a phenomenal running back, not only is he a phenomenal person, he's a pretty good writer, too. This is a good book, Master Teague. Thank you so much for sharing your experience as a man of faith, as a young man on a college campus. This is a really, really good book. I highly recommend it. Tell
Thank
me
you.
about the motivation to write that book.
Well, I appreciate, your acknowledgement of, being a good writer. I mean, it went through a couple iterations, of course you had to go through your edits and look back and make sure everything is, right. But I was encouraged for to write this book by somebody at Ohio State, actually a mentor of mine, a leader of mine, and they just suggested like, hey, you had a great time at Ohio State. You're still fresh off of leaving Ohio State. You should write something about your time up there and what it meant to you and blah, blah, And I was like, okay. At first, I'm like, I don't know, because listen, growing up, I didn't really read that much, and I've been starting to read more now because I know how important it is to read to gaining your knowledge and be able to articulate things in that sort of way. But so at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. But after thinking about it, after sitting on it for a while, I felt that the Holy Spirit really led me to do it. He gave me something to talk about and share. I didn't just want to come out and just share it, my story per se. Even though my story's in it, I wanted to touch base on something that was uh, a issue or a problem or concern for a lot of people that are going into college that are believers, that are Christian. A lot of people fall away when they go to college. They get around the wrong people. They don't choose their friends wisely. They're not intentional about that gift of faith that they do have. And so I was like, okay, well, I've been blessed by the grace of God to be around the right people, surround myself, and not just keep my faith, but flourish in my faith in college. And so maybe I can just write about that so that others people can see themselves in my shoes, or take away from that yes, they can stand firm on their beliefs when they go to college, whether you're just a student or an athlete. There's a lot of temptation, and we need encouragement these days. There's a lot of things going around, a lot of lies being told, a lot of ways you can go to lead yourself astray and go down a path that's not conducive to your flourishing as a person. And so I just wanted to share and help the next student athlete, the next student, just to go in with conviction in your faith, stand firm on it. Is going to be the best thing that's going to help you to overcome all the obstacles that will happen, that you will face in college. So I wrote it when I was, I'm still a free agent, NFL free agent right now, but I wrote it while I was in free agency. I've been working out, looking for opportunities in the NFL, and I wrote it. It took me about a month, and had all my people read it. The people that you read about in the book, they all read it before, and people on the back as well, they read it, and so did my edits, and had a couple people read it and to help me do those edits. And so I'm just glad it's out. Hopefully, it's been impactful to people that's read it, and any more people that decide to pick it up. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, real quick, I'm going to read this comment to you, Master. This is from Nicholas Quint, one of the best running backs to wear scarlet and gray. That's what he said
Mm.
about you, man. How about that? That's
Shout out
all
to
right.
Nicholas Quint, man. Awesome.
So,
Thank
real quick, my copy signed, autographed there by one Master
you. Yeah.
Teague. That's he just authenticated that. Chris, did you see that? Did you catch that? He just authenticated. Here's what we're gonna do tonight, guys. Before the end of the show, I just got another copy from Master Teague. We're gonna give it away to somebody tonight. How about that? Isn't that pretty cool? That's what we do as Buckeyes. We pay it forward, right? That's what we're going to do tonight. So I told Master I was going to share a story, and then what I'm going to share the story, ask another question, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys to ask Master some questions, and of course the chat. Um, so my story is Master is coming off an injury at Ohio State. It's the beginning of the season. I forget what year it was, Master. I want to say maybe your
2020,
junior year. I think it was your junior year,
yeah,
coming off
COVID,
injury.
COVID, COVID year.
Maybe it was the year before COVID, because we
Well,
were all
you talking about because so I think you're talking about 2020. I had the
21.
Achilles energy
Yes, yeah.
injury.
So my good friend Carl and I are walking, and Aaron knows him, Chris knows him too. Carl and I are walking into the shoe, and Carl's the type of person that he's never met a stranger in his life. He's always willing to talk to people, and because of that, he knows a lot of people. Now, Carl was also a athletic trainer during Earl Bruce's years. So he does know a lot of people at Ohio State. And we walk in, and we first thing we always do when we walk in is we go to the concession stand and grab what we want so that we don't have to go back to the concession stand during the game. And I see these people wearing Teague jerseys. And I go, Carl, do you think that's Master's dad and family? And he goes, well, let's go find out. And he just walks right over. And I, of course, I follow along with him. And we met your father, and your father was carrying with him a Bible into the horseshoe. And that ended up being a 15-minute conversation about his faith and about you as a young man. And I just want to commend him for having that kind of boldness in his walk with Christ. And I want you to speak a little bit about your father and your parents and how that they, because you do so in this book as well, but how they maybe influenced you in your life.
Yeah, man, yeah. I mean, just like that. He's it's not for show. It's really who he is. He's gonna carry around his Bible. He's gonna wear the shirts, that says, Jesus on it. He's gonna proclaim the truth everywhere he goes. He's always taking his bag with books of the Bible, reading it everywhere. And so, my parents, they've been a tremendous impact on me growing up. I mean, they were the start of my faith journey with the Lord, and I just saw how they live their life. A lot of parents, uh, unfortunately, they talk a lot about their faith. They talk a lot about doing this and doing that to their children, but they don't live it out themselves. So the children don't see that example, and so the children don't inherit that faith that they want them to, because they don't see it practiced and lived out in their parents. And so I was able to see that in my family and my parents, and that rubbed off on me. And I wanted to be just like that, so I carried around my Bible. I used to see my Bible, my dad reading the Bible all the time, and that encouraged me to pick my own Bible up, read it, took it to school with me, and still carried around everywhere I go. And it's a foundation, because when you have that strong foundation, everything else builds off of that. What you do in life, how you carry yourself, how you go to school, how you go to work, how you play sports, how you play football, how you put your effort into it. It is, serving the Lord, the person that's giving you the gift, right, and giving that gift back to Him by putting our all into it, and uh, wanting to glorify Him with it. And so my parents were a great impact on me. Growing up, and still are to this day. They're spiritual leaders. My dad, of course, and my mom, but one of the things that I have to say is that going away from college was a big step for me in my walk and my journey with the Lord, because I had to make a decision for myself. Like I said, they were impactful, and when I left, they they were no longer there physically with me, to take me to church, to go here and go there, and so I had to make a decision for myself, and that's when I really made a huge leap in my walk with the Lord, and understanding of uh, the things of God, because it became more of a personal thing, personal relationship that I had with the Lord. And um, I talk a little bit about that in the book as well. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that my dad taught me growing up as well, when I first started playing football, uh, I didn't like football. I'll just say I didn't like football at first, first started playing it. I just didn't like the hitting. And I hear some people in here used to like me, just, I ran tough, ran hard. I tell you, I wasn't always like that. I was kind of soft to start out. And I didn't like it at first. My dad said, keep going, keep going, don't stop. Um, Finish what you start if you want to at the end of the season, move on from it. But fortunately enough, I grew a love for it, kept playing, get great opportunities, moving forward, moving to Ohio State. And that was actually one of the things that Coach Meyer used to tell me, uh, was be violent. Violent. He used to be walking down the hallway or, I don't know, sitting in the cafeteria. He would look at me and say, violence, violence. Because even my freshman year, I think he wanted me to be even more violent. He knew how violent I could be, how tough I could run, and so he wanted to pull that out of me even more. And so I think that was, uh, you know, a catalyst for me, being the type of back that I was and that I am. And I know I just kind of said some different things, but yeah, I mean, like I said, my dad, he's definitely a big impact on my life and continually is a mentor of mine. And I hope that you guys out there have a father figure, man, that you can look up to, that you can have in your life, because it's very important, especially in this day and age. And I think our society is kind of getting away from it and looking down on that. And I think it's a shame. It's sad, but man, it's so impactful for sure.
All right, I got one question from the book, if that's all right. I'm gonna read. I highlight when I read, or otherwise I don't pay attention. So I was highlighting some stuff here. This is something you wrote. It kind of goes along a little bit with what you were just talking about. You said, I used to beat myself up when I had a bad practice or performed below the standard, and our team standard was not average, but elite. That sounds like Urban Meyer talking there, elite. I had to quickly learn that when you are competing at the highest level of something, there's no time to sulk in what happened before, but only focus on what can be done presently to rise above it. I thought that was so impactful of a statement in your book. Um, Maybe speak a little bit about that. I know you had all the things with injuries, and I see all the questions in the chats, guys. We're going to get to those, and I'm going to finally let these other three guys ask questions too. But I promise my last question: rising above in all aspects of life. Speak to a little bit about that on your personal level, Master.
Yeah, so we're all going to have challenges in life, whether it be in sport, relationships, careers, whatever it may be. And a lot of times we let those things halt our progression. We let those things deter us from reaching the destination that we're on, or that we want to be at, or that we're called to be at, instead of using those things as a springboard for motivation, or opportunity to lean on somebody that loves you, somebody that cares, on a power beyond yourself, to help you to overcome that. And you're in it. You're in it. You're just in it. The train is moving, and you're going to be in it. So you might as well deal with it, and you might as well overcome it, because it's going to be there. It just is what it is. It's a part of life. And you know, Coach Meyer, he always talked about being elite, and that was the standard of the team. And so another thing is, when you're a part of, for me, when I was on that team, when you're part of an elite group of people, I mean, you have to rise with that. You're going to rise to that level, and everybody's pushing everybody, and everybody's encouraging everybody, and you just get better and better. Um, and so, you know, I think it's very important, for us to have a great perspective on what obstacles are, what struggles are, what they are, and the opportunity for us to grow from it, to become even stronger. Um, because if you want to be a weak person, an average person, then you just go through life with ease. Go through life not having any hardships, having any uh, opposition or friction. But if you want to be strong, we know you're gonna have to have some resistance. You know you're gonna have to have some opposition. You know you're gonna have to get in the weight room and push that weight. in order to gain that muscle, gain that strength, so you can run faster, jump higher, all the stuff, and so a lot of times we don't get to where we want to go because we don't want that resistance. We don't want that friction. But that's what we need. And even in faith, every day it's a battle. You have to deny yourself if you want to follow Jesus. And that's opposition. That's friction. The world doesn't love God. We're not of this world as believers. We're in the world, but we're not of it. The world doesn't love us because we follow Jesus, and the world doesn't love Jesus. And so it's constant opposition, constant friction. But that's the thing that is able to make us, refine us, to strengthen us, to make us better, and not only for ourselves but for the people around us, because they need encouragement as well. They need uplifting as well. They need to see that, yes, I can overcome this as well, that you overcame it, and you can help them to do the same, that they're not alone, that you've been there, you've done that, so they can do it, right? And I talk about in the book, having a buddy of mine that we kind of had these quote unquote therapy sessions uh after practice, and we just chopped it up with each other, talked about our successes, our failures, and then kept it moving. Because a lot of people think they're alone. You're not alone. You're not alone in your journey in this life. We're all going through. Everybody has, man, struggles and hard times. Everybody. And so when you can find those people that can you can walk alongside with is important. So I think for me in my personal life, just having those people around, and not being afraid to just reach out and ask them for help or prayer or whatever encouragement. And so you know teamwork makes a dream work, I guess you could say it.
And there you go. All right, first fan question here from Brian, New York. Great stuff. Are you familiar with the Newman Center at OSU?
uh I'm not sure. Newman's Center.
Yeah,
What is that? Do you guys know?
I don't know. Brian, let us know in the chat what the
Yeah,
Newman Center
let us
is.
know.
Uh,
You know.
I'll ask another one here then from the chat. This is from James Tube 8439. Master Teague, do you have a favorite moment or memory when you were playing at Ohio State?
I mean, so I guess my freshman year we went to Penn State. It was a whiteout game. uh, 2018. You probably know that. We was down by a couple scores, came back, won, and it was crazy. Ben Vick had that great touchdown, and that was memorable for me. Cold, hostile environment, super super loud. Can't hear anybody, even when you're 2 feet away. And so that for me was a great moment. Of course, all the playoff games, uh, and my 2019 year, uh, 2020 going to the Natty. Of course, we lost, but I enjoyed that experience, and just the overall camaraderie, the overall work that we put in, and I think also, man, just the university. The I enjoyed going to school there. I enjoyed my professors, the alumni, and I think it was a blessing for sure. And so, man, there's so many memories. But one of the ones that stand out is the one in 2018 that I talked about. So
That was a good one, man. That was that. Yeah, that I still have that on my DVR. I think actually. Chris, you're up, buddy.
All right. Sorry about that. So Master, you grew up kind of in SEC country, right? Down in Tennessee.
yeah, yeah.
So, what brought you to Ohio State? Eric always likes to talk about the recruiting process, but what was it that brought you to Ohio State? And maybe that moment in your recruiting that really turned you on to becoming a Buckeye.
So Ohio State, they were recruiting me for a while. I didn't have an offer. Felt like I had an offer because I had built a relationship with coaches. But Coach Meyer, he wanted me to come up and do a workout with him. He wanted to see me in person. And so I went up for my senior year in the summer, did the camp with him, they offered me. By that time, I knew I wanted to go there, so I committed. But before that, my other teams that were top on my list were Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee was up there. Uh, but one of the things that stood out for me about Ohio State was they didn't sell me a certain type of dream, or they didn't say you come here, you're going to get this and that and the other. But they kept it real. They was like, you come here, it's going to be hard. It's a competitive environment. You're going to have to compete every day, work hard. Nothing's going to be handed to you. And then also, one of the things that they did was they even broke down my high school film and told me, all right, this is a place you're great here, great there, great there, great there, but here's the one little place that you can maybe improve. And so, all right, like man, so they're keeping it real with me. They're coaching me already. I'm not even there. I I think that stands out to me. I want to go be challenged, go be coached, and not have all this fluff that people are telling me. Yeah, I want that kind of I want that stuff for sure, but I felt like I would be challenged more going to Ohio State, and I was drawn to that. Of course, the tradition, the winning tradition, and then in the book I even talk about those are some of the things that drew me, but also my community of faith, my faith community was a thing that really shone forth, and I have so many brothers and sisters in Christ up there, and people that I love that love me, and I built that out as well, and so that's another great blessing that was there for me, and I'm glad. But both, man, um, football and faith, and uh, it's a great place. It's a great place to be, and so great experiences, and that's pretty much they kept it real with me. That's pretty much what it was. I felt like they kept it real with me more than others. So
Our friends from Tennessee are chiming in here. Said Tennessee was going through some dark days. That's why he went to Ohio
yeah,
State.
yeah, it was rough. It was some rough times for
Did
sure.
you grow up a Vols fan?
Actually, no, I didn't grow up. Well, I grew up, but I didn't grow up watching too much college football. I mean, I
Oh,
played the
okay.
NCAA games,
Yeah.
Road to Glory and all that, but I didn't watch necessarily and pay attention that much to college football. I
Sounds
was,
like Brian Hartline talking over here. Brian Hartline gives the same answer. He's like, I really wasn't a college football fan. I was more into the
yeah.
pros.
I mean, yeah. I watched. Yeah, I was more in the pros, and then also the only team that I really knew a lot about was MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University. That's because that's where my dad went. And like I said, my dad was a big impact on me, influence on me. So I was like, I want to go to MTSU,
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I started getting those looks and like, oh man, I can go. There's so much greater, better, as far as the caliber of football than that. So, yeah,
Jar of Happiness, I see your question. I've got it marked. We're going to ask that, but I got to let Aaron chime in here, buddy.
All right, so you talked a
And of
little bit
course,
about it.
and of course his
Amish
Amish
internet.
internet freezes
Sorry,
out.
guys.
Go. Try
Sorry.
again.
Here we go.
Amish
Okay.
internet.
Yeah, I got somebody out back cranking it. It doesn't work that well. I'm sorry, guys.
Manual internet.
They're getting fired. It's all good. No, I just want to know what made you fall in love with the sport of football.
I was good at it. I think that was the main thing. Well, so yeah, so my first time was playing. Well, I was 7 years old when I started. And like I said, I didn't like the hitting, especially in little league. I feel like the whole practice is just line up. You line up 10 yards, 10 yards away from him, and y'all just boom, all practice. And I didn't really enjoy that too much. But I was a fast kid, so they put me at running back automatically, and you know, I just would score. I would score a lot, and I became really good, and started to enjoy that feeling of just succeeding, you know, and scoring touchdowns, and so that I think that's what really drew me in there. Oh man, I'm pretty decent at this. I'm fast, and so uh, I think and then growing into it, the Lord just opened up so many doors for me and opportunities that, quite frankly, I don't within myself. I don't see how that happened. I know it's God. I know it's Him. Because, like I said, I've had some injuries going through the sport, even starting off in middle school. Having, or actually, I had a concussion in little league, then I had a injury in middle school, some injuries in high school, of course, injuries in college, and still injuries now. But I've still been able to experience all the experience I've had and going to the highest level of where most people strive to be, but never can get there. Like, it's so slow, so slim, the percentage of that. And so I'm so blessed to be able to experience what I am experiencing, what I have experienced. And so, yeah, yeah. So,
I gotta say,
mm.
man, I was I was hoping you'd get a legit shot or a better shot, I guess, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my team right there, man. So hopefully you get another crack at it.
Follow
Yeah.
up, follow up that you're a free agent right now. Are you still pursuing a professional football career?
So I'm inquiring about the UFL and seeing what that would look like for me. I want to get into that. So, uh, yeah, I'm still leaving that open and still training. I mean, I'm still training all the time, and I got a great trainer down here in Tennessee that I trained with throughout high school that really grew my body and grew my strength and my power uh, like crazy growing up and maturing. And so I've been training with him and doing stuff of my own as well, training with some old high school teammates and different guys. So, that's been good. So I'm always staying ready for sure. I love to, always stay in shape and stay ready. So, yes, sir.
Brian, New York, followed that up. So the St. Thomas More Newman Center, home of Buckeye Catholic on West Lane Avenue by Buffalo Wild Wings. Um, I know from your book, Master, that you were in a lot of campus ministries um, on campus while you were there. So uh, I don't know if you were a part of the Catholic ministry, but maybe speak to what ministries you were a part of.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't think I would never. I never heard of that one, but I mean, I was part of Campus Crusade or Crew Ohio State. That's kind of a ministry just for all students that they gathered on Sundays and then had breakout small groups throughout the week. Was a part of that. Was part of athlete ministry, cross sports we called it. Cross and in sports, cross of Christ, and we were connected through that in sports. And then uh, I created my own. I did a Bible study with my teammates. Me and a couple other guys did Bible study with my teammates. I had a couple churches I went to. One main one, another one I went to every so often, and then another one I went to a few times because my other teammates went there. So uh, I had several things that would keep me uplifted and remind me of who I am in my identity in Christ, right? Because everything else, if is shifting sand in the world. Everything you try to put all your chips in this world, man, is just so fragile. And so I needed, of course, my relationship with the Lord and be reminded of that all the time. There was a couple other ministries a part of too. Uh, a smaller church near campus, another group I was part of earlier on campus. So, you know, I think it's just being intentional. You just got to be intentional about your faith, man. It's a gift, and you don't want to tarnish it. And man, there's so many different things shooting at you, wanting to take you a certain way, the wrong way, right? So how much more do we need to be vigilant and aware, uh, so that we can continue to progress along in our walk in our faith to keep us uphold us. So yeah, I wasn't part of that ministry, but handful, a lot of experiences and ministries blessed to be a part of when I was there. So
JR, we've kept you quiet for half an hour, buddy. Why don't you ask our guest a question this evening?
It's okay. I was late. I understand. First off, pleasure to speak to you, Master, and I really appreciate your time at Ohio State. One moment that I recall when you were at Ohio State is the Indiana game, and the reason I recall that so well is because my in-laws are Indiana fans, and so the one time they were good at football, they decided to talk really loud, and you and Garrett scored the first three touchdowns in that game, I think it was. But I remember your 41-yard touchdown in the shoe. Can you just explain that feeling of like a huge run in the shoe? I mean, obviously, none of us are ever going to experience that feeling of scoring a touchdown, the crowd going crazy. I mean, what does that feel like? Can you just give us a taste of what it's like to have everybody cheering for you, everything going on, just the whole feeling of it all?
You know, of course, it's a great feeling. You know, um, you practice every week to do that, to do it as many times as you can, and I think when it opens up for you, and you're running down that lane, and you feel like, oh, I'm about to make it. It's like, oh, this is fun, this is cool, and and then you just think, man, they you think about your teammates, they open up the lane for you, you did your job, and we're here, put points on the board, and uh, it's cool. Indiana actually, both years, my 2019 and 2020, that was like some of my best games. I
Hmm.
had over 100 yards, a couple touchdowns, so they got they had to deal with me, a couple times. So uh, it's awesome. It's always cool to do, make those long runs. Those are the fun ones to watch. And so, man, that was a memorable game for sure. And um, yeah, it's awesome. I mean, the Buckeye Nation is awesome. Coming out of that tunnel, seeing that crowd, that sea of red, and them cheering us on, uh, is awesome. And one of the things that came about in that was, I'm sure you guys know that chanting T, um, and say my last name, and that was cool to hear. Like sometimes I didn't necessarily hear it, but my teammates like, they was chanting your name. I was like, I didn't really hear that, but that's cool. But then a couple times I try to pay more attention. I would hear it, like, wow, that's pretty cool. But definitely, like I said, I always like to deflect the glory back to the Lord. That's my name, but I play for His name, right? And so, uh, it's surreal. Like I said, it's a blessing, and um, hopefully, uh, many of you young kids out there that want to make it to that level can experience that as well. So just keep working, stay consistent.
That's awesome. I actually remember, I think it might have been your freshman year at Northwestern. Dewan Jones came in and just absolutely
Yeah,
cleared
he
out the
destroyed.
entire, like, he took everyone out and then followed you down the field and almost beat you to the end zone. I was like, that boy
Yeah,
can run. That boy could,
yeah.
he like,
Give him
that
that
was
praise. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
he
that
took a
was awesome.
broom and just swept the whole D line out the way, and then boom, yep. The Red Sea. He was Moses. He parted that thing.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's great. All right, here's a great question. Jar of happiness, Master. Was there a difference in the atmosphere of the Woody when Urban left and Ryan took over?
Um, so by atmosphere, that I wonder if they just mean culture or energy, or I'm not sure. But in regards to uh, you say culture, I think it's pretty much similar. I mean, we still knew. I mean, this is it's same standard, um, same grind, same work ethic, same competition, same push. Uh, I think one of the things, the difference between the two, Coach Meyer, he's a little bit old school. He's really intense. And then Coach Day, he's not as intense. He's a little bit more. I mean, both great coaches. Like I love them both. Coach Day is a little bit more, I guess, seemingly approachable to talk to. One on one. So both coaches are amazing. Definitely a blessing for me. Coach Meyer, like I said, he used to tell me violence, violence. That was the main thing, and so I really appreciate him for doing that. I didn't like it at the time. I thought we violent. I mean, I'm doing what I'm doing, but it helped me become more violent. And Coach Day, uh, I can really appreciate him because he really cares for his players, uh, and he wants them to see them do well on the field, but then also off the field. How's your family doing? How you doing mentally? He's big on mental health as well. He's had some struggles and things that he went through in his life that have shaped and molded him, and he wants us to be mentally right and uh, there so that we can perform, so that we can be at, go out there at the highest level. And people are going to have their opinions, with things that have happened over the last couple of years with some games, unfortunately. And so we'll see what happens. But I always root for him and appreciative and grateful for the experience I had with him and Coach Meyer. And there'll be names that we talk about for years to come. Buckeye Nation for sure. People don't understand, the impact they have on the kids. Even though, yeah, you may lose some games, but their impact on young men growing up is highly important and tremendously impactful. So,
Let's do some rapid questions here for Master. We got them for a few more minutes. Chris, you're up first here. We'll just go around the horn and ask some questions. And Master, we got you for a few more minutes. Maybe we can try to knock out a couple more questions here before we give this book away. Go ahead, Chris.
all right,
Okay. Favorite coach as a Buckeye?
all of
Oh, love
Okay.
it. Hey, it's KVS. You loved them all, man.
There you go.
Here's Brian Oberst. Do you ever think you will coach football?
That's a good question.
maybe not. I have to see. I don't know.
Not done playing though. That's what I want to see you in USFL, man. Or the UFL, man. I
UFL.
want to see that happen.
Hmm.
Hopefully you get a phone call. Aaron Brown, go for it.
Favorite all-time Buckeye player?
Mm, man, I'm gonna go with. I mean, I got to go with Archie and Eddie. I mean, just the backs, I guess. Just like
Yeah.
Zeke, Eddie, Arch. Uh, you know. So
Jr.
Was there somebody that you would practice against that I don't know how the best way to put it, but like they were just always really tough to practice against? It was like you knew that hit was coming from that guy and like you knew they were going to hit you the hardest. Was there anybody like that at practice that kind of you or the players would talk about in that way?
I would say the first one that came to mind was to Roger Mitchell. Next one, Tough Borland. Um, and yeah, those are the two that came to my mind. Also, I think my freshman year had a little run in with Josh Proctor. Or no, was it Josh or was it
I'm
was
not
either Josh?
surprised if it
I
was
think
Josh
I think it
Proctor.
was
That guy
Josh.
hits everything.
Yeah.
I think it was Josh. I can't remember, but had a little run in, little scuffle. Uh, I think I'm trying to think it was him or somebody else, but yeah. So
That's awesome.
Donald Hoffer II what asks a question about the combine. He wants to know what advice you would give the guys who are heading to the combine.
what advice would I give the guys heading to the combine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, what I did was, I mean, I went down to Texas and trained. I mean, I didn't get invited to the combine. I went to pro day, but um, I mean, there you want to. For me, I wanted to be around people like you have different choices. Like you can train at your school with your strength coaches that know you, or you can go somewhere else and train. And I went somewhere else and trained, so I wanted to get that kind of experience with some other guys around the nation, just to kind of see, the outlook, and be challenged, be competing with other people around the nation. And we focus a lot on the things that we're going to do. 40 shuttle, you know, stride. Like we worked on, what it really looks like to have perfect form in our 40s, and things like that. Continue to strengthen in the weight room, work on your stretches, and continue just to continue to take care of your body, and um, operate at that high level. And then leading up to your combine, just make sure your mindset is right, and that you're well rested, and ready to go out there and show, that you can, move, you can run fast, you can change direction, you can do some things in the testing. Of course, the drill work is important as well. They want to see you can move. I mean, you can move, and um, how that could apply to the real game. One of the things too is a lot of times some people have great combines, some people don't. Most important thing is what you do out on the field. Most important thing is what you go out and practice, and show in the game, and things like that. That's really what gets people in there in the door when they get on the team. Just doing it, making it happen on the field. I mean, you can have all the greatest statistics out there, but if you can't get it done and produce, then that don't mean anything. So uh, yeah, that's all I say.
Master Teague, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate this. It has been an honor to have you. Where can everybody who didn't win a free copy get online and find your book at and order one?
So I mean, you can go to my social media on Instagram, Twitter, uh, Master Teague. Just type in Master Teague III. You should find me there. You can go in my bio and see that, or the actual website is just Master W Teague III.com, and you can go in there and you can look at publications. Drop down and press the power of community book, and working on some other things, some other resources for students, for athletes to give, to help them. So, yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be on here and be a guest with you guys. Hopefully, we can do this again. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
I highly recommend, if you have a son or daughter who is getting ready to head to college, or a loved one who might be heading to college, get this in their hands before they go. They need to read this. I highly, highly recommend that. So, Master Teague, thank you so much. We'll do it this way before we go to commercial break. OH!
oh,
There we go. Go Bucks. Thanks, Master.
good luck.
Appreciate you.
All right.